Welcome to the Faith Geek Podcast. The Faith Geek Podcast is your weekly source for all things current in geek culture. From entertainment to sports, parenting to religion. Be sure to check us out on the web by visiting www.thefaithgeek.com. Now, let us welcome Brent Whetstone and Joe Gerbery.
Alright folks, we are back with the Faith Geek Podcast. My name is Joe Gerbery, as you all know, and it's Gerbery again, not Gerbery. I'm here with Karen Bell is here with me in studio. I'm going in order, sir. Karen Bell is here with me in our in-house studio, and Brent and Heather are on the phone because they can't be bothered to come here to my house to come record it. So that's what happens. We even get you diet root beer as you have requested, and you don't even come here to get it.
We didn't sort out M&M's by color. I'm sorry. Listen,
I did not get that rider that there needs to be M&M's with no green M&M's.
Yeah. Listen, I feel like I need to explain it. Like, everywhere I go, for my interviews that I do with the Faith Geek team, whether I'm on, like, Delivered or Deceived, or if I travel to other people's locations, I request that I have root beer there. It's not because I'm a diva, it's because, well, yeah.
Nope. Feel like it's mostly because you're a diva, so.
It may be. But, listen, I appreciate you guys getting the root beer. Keep it in the refrigerator, and when you come out there, I will gladly drink it.
Oh, it's there. It's definitely not going to be anything that I'm drinking, and Karen doesn't drink pop, so.
We couldn't make it, not because we didn't want to be bothered to drive to the great state of Pennsylvania, but it was our daughter's, she got baptized today at one of the churches we attend, the movement in Niles, Ohio. So she made the commitment as an 8-year-old. 9-year-old. So,
remember how old your kid is. You have
as a 9-year-old.
You have 14 of them, so I understand.
To get baptized today. So we actually celebrated that today. We were up in Cleveland. We spent the day at Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. Took the kids to the new carousel that just opened yesterday. So Northeast Ohio people, check that out at the Metro Park Zoo. But so we were celebrating her baptism today. So we were joining via our phone conference system that we have, which is an amazing system.
Which is speakerphone on an iPhone.
It's the greatest thing in the world. Like, who would have thought it? But so today we actually have our entire editorial board together, which consists of
together in two places.
Together, yeah, but on the same program, which very rarely happens.
Right. Usually it's you and me, or it's the guys. And Karen's just in the background looking at stuff, which is kind of what she's doing right now. So, it's all good.
Heather and Karen are with us today because I wanted to talk about, and we don't do this very often, it's something that has been on my heart to talk about recently, and I know it's something that Heather's very passionate about, and I think Karen actually wrote about this for one of, like, her major journalism job things that she does, because she's like a pro at this stuff. But it's bullying. And I actually came across an organization probably about 6 weeks ago. It's an organization called Brave, and they deal with this issue. And it's a really cool thing that people are starting to realize that bullying has become such a problem in the country and in the world that we need to do something about it. So the question is how being Brave actually solves bullying? Well, when the founders of Brave, a group of 20-somethings, got together to think about bullying and conflict, they realized just how frequently they actually occur. You start to realize that it's not an age issue, but a behavior and mentality issue, and it never goes away, says the Brave founder.
That Brave is quite possibly the most practical answer to bullying and conflict ever. Inspired by concepts happening to everyone, everywhere, at home, school, work, organizations, and day-to-day living. We realized that we often were not able to actually confront those who occurred us without escalation occurring.
So what Brave does eligible to enter the database where they can request a Brave one to help settle their conflicts on Brave's Skype-like platforms.
If parties wish not to show their faces, they can select an avatar. In addition, these exchanges can happen within the comfort of one's own home or wherever you feel safe.
And you can sign up at brave.org, and that's BRAV.org, and watch out for their hilarious video to debut in June. They also have a Fox TV segment coming out and a Kickstarter campaign launching. You can stay up to date with them by going to their Facebook page, which is Brave Movement, BRAVMOVEMENT. All the information will be posted on there, and you can stay up to date what they're doing. And this is just one of those organizations, Joe and Karen, that they're really setting out to make a difference. You're going to want to sign up, and you're going to want to help them get their name out there, like their page on Facebook, share it to all your friends and family, help them out on Kickstarter. Bullying has become such an issue, and one of the things that they said there in the ad about it's the age issue and everything like that, we can speak to that. I was ministering at Believers Church in Warren probably about 3 months ago, and I talked about an incident that happened with Caitlin, my 9-year-old, who was just baptized, when she was in 1st grade. And you wouldn't think, bullying would even be an issue in elementary school. But bullying has gotten so bad because, in my opinion, of the stuff on TV, the things that these young kids are exposed to, the lack of parental supervision. A lot of these kids are raised in single-family homes. But not that that's a bad thing. It's just that sometimes kids will act out when they don't, have a father figure or a mother figure
right.
to, kind of pull them in. And so here's Caitlin. She's a 6-year-old in 1st grade, and there's a boy in her class who basically threatens to kill her and my wife, Heather.
Wow.
Now, we had no idea that any of this was going on until about 6 months after the initial incident happened, when Caitlin, one day, just burst into tears, and she refused to go to school. She didn't want anything to do with it. So I'm going to let Heather tell a little bit about the situation, in the mornings that she would deal with trying to get Caitlin to go to school before we knew what was actually going on.
First, just to say that Caitlin is extremely smart. She loves school. So for her to
Actually, can I brag real quick?
You can brag.
She tested 4 years ahead of the grade that she's actually in for math. So, very intelligent.
So she's better at it than I am, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Good.
Just a cry the last day of school because she missed her teacher and wanted to have work to do over the summer. And
You two and your nerdlings.
Yeah, just 2 nerds together is bound to happen. But no, for Caitlin, of all of my kids to suddenly out of nowhere not want to go to school, we knew something was up. And it took some convincing to get Caitlin to open up and let us know what was going on. I know I talked to her and Brent talked to her, and we got her grandparents involved, and they talked to her, and a couple ministers at church sat down with her. But it took some doing to get her to finally say, yes, this is something that's going on.
And I just want to say, the school was completely unaware of it, too. We couldn't figure out what was going on. And it was one day that I took off work a little bit early, purposely to go and pick her up from school. So it was just me and her in the car. So I went and picked her up, and I asked her how her day went, and she started crying again. And I'm like, we're not leaving this parking lot until you tell me what's going on. Because I'm starting to think that there's some physical abuse issues going on at the school from a teacher or an adult figure. And so, I'm really starting to freak out a little bit. And she finally told me that there's a little boy in her class who had threatened to kill her and Heather. And he would kill them if she told that he was bullied. He was picking on her, name calling, and then the threatening thing is what really put her over the edge because she was upset that he was picking on her, but she couldn't tell anyone because she was afraid that this 6-year-old boy would come and kill Heather in her sleep because that's what he promised to do.
Oh.
So, but even that shows how we look at bullying as an age issue. Because our first instinct was not, oh, there's another 6-year-old picking on you. Our first instinct was to think there's a teacher doing something or
right.
Yeah.
So, luckily, once we found that out and we were able to get the school involved, we were able to monitor. And, you know, not everyone is going to have a kid who is going to open up and tell them what's going on, especially if you're dealing with teenagers. And not everyone is as lucky as we are to have the superintendent that we have, to have the principal that we have in Warren City schools that are really active in the kids' lives.
Yeah, you guys have. I remember a story you actually wrote about, I believe, with Izzy and the separation anxiety, where they were really involved in making sure that she was, taken care of, and that she's, welcomed at school and stuff like that. So I remember reading that and seeing those things, and hearing that stuff. So.
Say enough about how wonderful the school system is. We are very, very lucky that our kids go where they go.
Right.
And that the people who are involved, that they have actually what they call parent-teacher liaisons, even working in the school system. So if you're not comfortable going to your teacher, you go to this other parent who sort of works as a mediator between the parties. We're really, really lucky that the school system stepped up on Caitlin's behalf, and we're able to support her and get her through the situation.
Yeah, well, we can't speak highly enough of Warren City Schools. I've actually turned down jobs out of state because it would mean taking our kids out of the school district that we're in. And I was upset the last day of school because the teachers are so phenomenal there. But that's my plug for Warren City School for anyone who's listening or cares.
Go Raiders.
But not everyone is lucky like that. I mean, there's a teenager that I've been following their story on Facebook and on the local news who, I don't want to say the school district because I don't want to get it wrong, but she was getting bullied and the school basically ignored it. So, you have the two extremes. You have the schools that are really involved and loving and caring, and then you have schools who they blow it off well, these are just kids being kids. And, that's the mentality that's what's wrong right now. It's
right.
Even when I was in high school, where, you're not, you might, not that I got picked on in high school, I don't want to bring up old wounds, but
brother. Oh, brother.
It ended there. I didn't have a cell phone. Facebook wasn't around back then.
Right.
Now, bullying is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And it's worse on Facebook because so many bullies are cowards at heart. And when you can get on Facebook from the safety of your own home and call people names and attack them, when you don't have to do it face to face, it's just an outlet.
It's the same kind of thing. I actually remember seeing it was a joke comic that I saw. It was of a little nerdy kid. The top one was big football player, jersey wearing kid runs into little short guy with glasses and knocks his book down, and the short little kid starts cussing the football player out and everything like that, and the captain says, and this is when Terrence realizes that he's no longer online, and just joking that he got beat up and that all these if you've ever played Call of Duty on Xbox with a headset on, trust me, you will hear and that's not to the extent of what we're talking about, but you'll hear a lot of threats and a lot of things that are said that have no way of being voiced out or acted on, but the anonymity of the internet and the face-to-face, the lack of a face-to-face intimidation really gives people the fuel to say things that they normally wouldn't say in person.
Right. And then when you're getting it both ways, when you're getting it face-to-face while you're at school, and then you're getting attacked from an anonymous source when
Right.
you're not at school, it's just cumulative.
Well, and bullying, too. I mean, I see adults. Like, I spend a lot of time on social media because a lot of what we do involves social media. So there's different message boards and there's different groups on Facebook that I'm part of. And I see a lot of stuff, even with the adults, where they'll be bullying other adults. And, like, there's some hurtful stuff said, like, people telling other people to go commit suicide, that the world would be a better place without them. Like, bullying doesn't stop at high school.
Absolutely.
It, like, you know what I mean? It carries on into, your adult life. And if you don't know how to deal with it, and you don't have the skills of conflict resolution and how to deflect a bully, that can be very bad for you. That's why organizations like Brave are needed. Like, that kind of stuff is needed.
Yeah, definitely.
And, we were talking before the show started, as we do, Heather and Joe were like, well, we never were bullied.
Nope.
And, like, I find that hard to believe because at some point, everyone, like us who are nerds, are bullied.
Well, I was a cool nerd.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I had friends. I was friends with everybody.
Whatever. Karen, I know. Is Karen still with us, or she's
I'm here.
She got lost in Pinterest world for a minute, but
I know that you had to have been bullied, right?
I feel like
Thank you for assuming that I was bullied. we can talk later about why you assume I was bullied, but actually I was bullied. Well, when I was in elementary school and stuff, I actually never really was bullied. Actually, one time when I was in high school, someone told me that they remembered when I was popular in, like, 3rd grade, but I didn't realize there was, like, a popularity thing in 3rd grade. So then that was kind of offensive, I think. But anyways, when I was in band, I sat between these two sisters, and literally every day they would just tell me that I was fat and smelled and hated me. And I hated band. It was awful.
The crazy thing is, and I'm glad you brought up the band thing, because there was an incident with myself in high school in choir. Not that I was in choir. Well, I was.
You were in choir. You have to confess to that. Yeah.
But, these groups that are like, I guess you would say the outcast groups, we weren't the sports people, we weren't the, I guess the sports people at Lakeshore were the only cool ones, but, we weren't the cool groups. Even within those, little societies themselves, there was bullying that went on, because, I got bullied in choir when I first started in choir in 8th and 9th grade, which I can't imagine why. I was such a handsome devil and a phenomenal singer.
it's getting deep.
I hear them laughing at me.
It's getting deep.
I was just talking to a friend of mine on Facebook. He lives in Massachusetts now, and he was a junior senior at this time, and he actually stood up for me, and it was because he stood up for me that, it made it tolerable, and, I was able to stick through those first couple of years, and then, I became an upperclassman, and I held positions within the political structure of the choir because we had elected officers and everything like that. But, I thanked him probably a month ago for doing that because there was another incident where a teenager took his life because of bullying, and we said, that we as parents need to train our kids now to stand up for kids who are being bullied. And, we were just talking about our bullying stories in high school, a group of us that all went to high school together and know each other. And it's because he stood up for me, I know that that's what helped me make it through. But, now that if they see someone being bullied, whether it be because of the color of their skin or their sexual orientation, or whether or not they have a physical or mental handicap, that our kids are going to step in and they're going to tell them to stop, and then they're going to go find a teacher, if it's at school or a pastor, if it's at church, to let them know that the bullying is going on, because the sooner you can get the adult intervention in, the better it's going to be for the kid who's getting bullied.
I know, when I was doing research for my senior project that I was working on this past semester, I talked to some parents on just like why they chose the school that they did, and a lot of parents actually have chosen online schooling to avoid bullies, because then they can kind of, they can't regulate bullying completely, and obviously, like we talked before, it's not just like a little kids thing; it happens all the time. But they can more so regulate who their kids see and how they handle it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we actually homeschooled Caitlin the second half of first grade because of the incident that was going on at school. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about that. We had a very positive experience with her homeschooling, and I would never tell people not to go that route if that's what they feel called to do. But for me, I want to see my kids learn to handle that, so that when they get out in the real world or whatever beyond school, they know how to stick up for themselves, that they have a thicker skin and coping skills. And I just felt like we were running away from the issue when we pulled her out. And so ultimately she went back to Warren City Schools in second grade. And she's been fine ever since. And I think we were lucky because we, first of all, as parents, took her serious at first. And I know not all parents do that, especially with really little kids. But we took her seriously. The school took her seriously. We were able to get her some counseling. We were able to sort of build her up in a way that she could go back and deal with that on her own. And I think it takes that sort of multifaceted approach to deal with the issue, because everyone has to get involved. Everyone has to take it seriously. And you have to get the kids the help that they need.
Well, and for the parents, too. Like, it's an issue with the parents because there's stress involved at the parental level if your kid's being bullied. And we were very fortunate to have a group of children's pastors who we were able to confide in, who was able to counsel Caitlin, but also to help us through it. And, like, through that, we've become very good friends with them. We're not at that church anymore, but we still continue a relationship on with the children's pastors there, because if it wasn't for them, like, and the counseling that they did in conjunction with the stuff that was going on with the school, like, I don't know how that situation would have turned out. But yeah, so
right. And I don't, and I agree with Heather that you definitely want the it's the idea of the baby turtles coming out of the egg, and chicken. If you try to get them out of the egg their own selves, they'll die. And not saying that, and obviously drastic thing, but it's not necessarily saying that you want to get your kids out of a situation that they wouldn't be able to handle. But there are certain situations that that are harder than that need parental and adult intervention. And there was the one girl in your story. Wasn't she getting like physically abused?
Oh yeah, she was getting hurt on the playground, but she didn't say anything to her mom for the longest time until she came home the one day with a big scrape on her face because one of the girls on the playground put rocks in a snowball and then threw it at her.
And so,
But the playground, monitors said that they couldn't do anything about it because kids will be kids, and it's just one little girl's word against another.
Right. And see, that's the attitude where it becomes dangerous, and, you have to walk a fine line of, okay, some of this we're going to experience, our kids are going to experience, but then you need to recognize the point where it becomes, no, this is an issue.
Right.
This is not part of being a kid.
This is not.
This isn't like, oh, it's not the high school experience to get your head shoved in the toilet every Friday at gym class.
Right.
Like, that's not it. That's not normal. That bullying.
Well, certainly younger kids go through a stage where they struggle with impulses. And so, if you steal a toy from a 3-year-old, from a 4-year-old, even from some 5-6-year-old, they're going to push you. They're going to strike out. And then immediately feel bad. But these kids that are planning, I mean, when you plan to put a rock in a snowball, that's malicious. That's not an impulse with you.
And there's also, and to your point too, there's always the, isn't it the grade school thing of the girl picks on the boy that she likes, or the boy picks on the girl that he likes, and it's just they're picking on them because they don't know any better, Like that may have been just my incidents when I was growing up. I have no idea. Obviously, no one seemed to agree with me on that one. So.
Liked you until you were out of Bible school.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
I just want everybody to realize that I'm getting bullied on my own podcast right now.
I just want to let everyone know that Brent assumed I was being bullied as a kid. Clearly, Karen was bullied. Let's talk to her.
Only because we talked before the show.
This is why I sit in the corner on the podcast.
Everyone in the Faith Geek is now doing the sensitivity training because there's apparently an issue going on.
Okay.
Nobody listens to me.
But listen, occasionally we gotta get serious. We gotta talk about stuff like this. Enough's enough. Like, if you're listening to this podcast, whether this month, today, next month, next year, 10 years down the road from now, and you are a victim of bullying, reach out to someone, reach out to an adult, reach out to a coworker, reach out to your boss, reach out to your teacher, reach out to your parents.
Let us know. Get a hold of us. We'll put you in contact with people.
I was just going to get you. Whether it's today or 10 years down the road, reach out to us because we're connected to so many resources and different organizations that we could put you in touch with the people who can help you. Joe and I, and Heather and Karen, I don't know if she's had any training in this, but like Joe and I went through crisis counseling, or I'm assuming you did down in Bible school.
Yes.
We've gone through crisis counseling. I've counseled people. Heather's gone through it from the education standpoint. Karen, I don't know if you have you done any?
I haven't really. I mean, maybe a little bit when I was in like my early teens. Not early teens. Like 17. I guess that's late teens. Whatever. Like 16 to 18. I did like facilitating and like high ropes course trainings at like our church camp, and so I did a little bit, but not. I wouldn't say it was anything like, like actual training.
Okay. Well, any number of the people on the Faith Geek team are going to be able to help you,
or at least point you in the direction of someone who could.
So reach out to email us at info@thefaithgeek.com, or you can reach out to us on Twitter, on Facebook. Joe and I, we instantly get the notification.
We are. I'm on Twitter all day.
Yeah, so reach out to us, and we'll do the best that we can to help you. We'll point you in the right direction. And hey, listen, if you're not a Christian, if you don't believe like we believe, but you happen to come across this because you were listening to bullying, like we don't care. We don't judge based upon what you believe or what you don't believe. If you're gay, straight, black, white, purple, pink, atheist, Satanist, witchcraft person, we care about you as a person. We're not looking at you for the label, how you label yourself. We're going to get you the help that you need. I've done some speaking with several different organizations that I have connections with here locally and nationally to help kids, LGBT youth, because I know it's become a very big issue with gay teenagers getting bullied, and I counsel a lot of kids that are going through that. So reach out to us. Like, don't let the fact that here to do. We're here to help people and entertain people, and this is one of those serious times where we're all about helping people. So reach out to us.
Reach out to anyone. Reach out over and over again until you find someone who you feel believes you and supports you. I mean, it may not be us. It may not be your parents. It may be a friend or a neighbor. But you have to keep going until you have a support network.
Absolutely.
And for our Christian listeners, we Joe and I are pastors. I mean, I'm ordained. I don't know if Joe's ordained. I'll ordain you tomorrow, Joe.
Okay.
But
good to know.
We have here you're ordained. We've got pastors and ministers who work on the Faith Geek and work in some of the other programs that we're affiliated with. And if you need to talk to a pastor, or if you can't talk to your pastor or whatever, reach out to us again. We will put you in contact with people that can help. Because we are all about helping people in addition to entertaining people.
Absolutely.
So, occasionally we will get serious like this.
I don't like it, but yeah. I'm very much the comedic relief, and so therefore it's my it's normally my job to make the jokes. But I agree with Brent absolutely. We are if you need help, we are absolutely ready, willing, and able to help as much as we possibly can with anything. Just let us know. Get in touch, as Heather said, get in touch with somebody. The one thing that I've seen, and obviously, as Brent said, I wasn't really bullied growing up, but I mean, we've all seen it on TV. We've seen it in people's lives and things, and it's the toughest thing that the hardest thing is that so often you feel isolated. You feel like it's you're the only person that happens to. You're the only person that is dealing with it. Not to the point where that it happened to Caitlin, but oftentimes it's don't tell anybody what's going on. You're going to be you'll face consequences. Let somebody know. It doesn't have to be somebody empowering your situation if you're in high school or in school period. Just let somebody know and get some help, get some ideas, get some backup. You'll be amazed at how much you'll feel rejuvenated. Honestly, just having backup, and that's honestly that's good life advice. I mean, honestly, you'd be surprised how much it just by liking something. I never really talked about that I liked this certain show or that certain show, and once I found out that there was a big community that liked Doctor Who or liked the Firefly and Serenity, and once you realize that there's a whole bunch of people out there that love the things that you love, and that's one of the big reasons why I like sports. There's a community about it, that I can talk to 4 or 5 different people right now. I can text them and say, hey, did you watch the Indians game? It's great that they won today, right? And have at least.
The Indians actually win.
They did.
Hey, they win. I love the Indians.
But anyway.
There's foreign numbers, Joe.
There is. But that's what I'm saying. It's just you'd be surprised how much you get support and how much better you'll feel once you seek out a community. We're not meant to live alone. God saw that man was alone and it was not good for him. Not saying that we all need to be married, but we all need people around us. So.
Absolutely. And check out Brave. This is what their whole organization is about, is helping people who are getting bullied and with conflict resolution, but also training people to help. So make sure you check them out at brave.org. There's no E at the end. It's BRAV.org. So that's something like I said at the beginning of the show, it's so great that an organization like this exists to be able to help people out.
And definitely something to hook kids up with.
Absolutely.
Having conflict resolution skills, knowing their own voice and their own power, and that they have a right to say no or to step in and help someone else. It's just something we really need to push with kids right now.
Yeah. So that's our serious stuff for today. Make sure next week you guys are following the blog, Facebook, and Twitter from Thursday on, because we will be at Colossal Con in Sandusky, Ohio, broadcasting live, blogging, tweeting.
Yeah, we've got Mr. Con there. Chris Ward will be there all week, I believe, right?
Ward, the Con Geek.
The Con Geek.
He finished up at Concoction up in Cleveland. It was their first time ever. It's a big sci-fi convention. So, make sure you're following what's going on. Heather and I, along with Mr. Thermite, will be out there on Saturday, all day Saturday. So if you're out there, look for us. We'll be in our Faith Geek press badges. We'll have our microphones and iPads with us, because as stuff is going on, as panels are going on, we're going to be blogging about it. So make sure you're following up, and if you're out at Colossal Con in Sandusky, Ohio, Thursday through Sunday, make sure you find us and connect with us. Let us know that you listen, and let us know that you are reading the blog, and you might just get a hug
From the Faith Geek.
from the Faith Geek himself, and maybe a pack of onions.
You won't, however, be able to meet me. I have to work because I have a real job.
Are you insinuating that Brent doesn't have a real job?
No, I took some time off
I have
without.
the most real job out of all of us.
Hey, I have a real job now.
It's a very real job.
Wait, we all have real jobs except for Joe.
I get to. I manage a shoe store that will remain nameless.
You are Al Bundy.
I am Al Bundy.
I just want to remind everyone that Joe manages a shoe store in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Yes, please. If you want to know where I work, please come visit me, because we need to make some money. My store is floundering. But yes, I will unfortunately not be at these cons this weekend. Karen will not be either. We didn't plan our time well with when the cons would be, and kind of forgot when they were. So, but let us know that you miss us. If you see Brent and Heather out there, and Chris, make sure you tell them that
We'll be podcasting this.
that we'll be podcast. Yeah. Do you want to talk about what's coming up on Thursday too, Brent, or no?
Thursday, the biggest news of all. Oh my goodness. Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm not going to tell them what it is, but this Thursday, the date is June the, let's see, first, second, third, 5th?
Yeah, it's the 5th.
Thursday, June the 5th, 2014. For those of you listening in the future, you're just going to have to skip ahead one episode. But those listening live and this week, Thursday, June the 5th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a huge, huge, huge surprise. You need to tune in and listen.
It's big deal stuff here, folks. Big deals.
Have your phone or your laptop ready, because you're going to want to tweet what we're going to be telling you. This news is huge. Huge. I cannot stress how huge this news is.
I think Brent's trying to say we're getting big news.
This news is going to change the way I think.
I don't even know what that means.
I'm not even going to say. I'm just going to say this. The news, what we're going to be announcing, is going to change the world, because this is how big this project is.
The Faith Geek world, or just the world in general?
The world in general.
Okay.
And what we're going to be doing on Thursday, the interview that we have lined up.
Well, now you're telling them what it is.
Should I tell them?
No. Just hush.
Just stop talking.
Just stop talking. Why don't you sit the next couple plays out? You know, maybe don't say everything that comes into the old head.
Why don't we just tell them what it's about?
No, we're no spoilers here. We take after River Song. There's no spoilers, so.
Alright, no spoilers. But it's big.
It's big.
You need to listen.
It's big stuff. Let's put it this way. It's big enough that Brent is going to actually come out to Newcastle to do it, so.
How about that?
That's a...
And I think that root beer, but I won't
Yeah, I picked up Diet Root Beer for you.
It'll still be sitting there. It's fine.
Oh yeah, it's not being touched, trust me, so.
I like Skittles, so there better be Skittles.
There's not
That's the deal with.
That's possible. It's possible, we don't know.
Onions, for sure.
Yes. Alrighty, folks. Well, we're going to wrap it up here at the Faith Geek Studios, which is my living room. Karen's playing Farmville. I'm going to let Brent and Heather get off the phone. But I want to make sure that you, like I said, check out our blogs this week. We got ones coming out this weekend. We got stuff coming out this week. And again, there is something big coming out on Thursday. I'll make sure that Brent uploads everything onto iTunes as well, because that's how I listen to it. I don't listen to a Spreaker. I listen to it on iTunes. But we'll make sure that everything gets done as soon as possible. So make sure you tune in on Thursday as to what's going on, folks. Because, again, we got big news.
Real quick, go in 20 minutes, go to the blog, because a new series launches tonight at 10:30 called Church Homeless. It's a series that's actually being written by me, Heather, and my daughter, Caitlin.
Oh.
It's going to be a great series for people who have been out of church for a while, or who experienced hurt in a church, or who have experienced, just not fitting in at their church and, seeking a new church. You don't want to not read this. This is going to be a great series on the Faith blog.
You don't want to not read this. That made sense. It was a double negative, but it made sense.
He's from Ohio. He's allowed to speak in double negatives.
Alright, folks.
It's time for me to go to bed.
We're shutting it down. You guys take care. You guys get off the phone. Stop doing whatever you guys are doing. We're gonna peace out here. Make sure you check us out on Friday. Make sure you get out to ColossalCon on this weekend, and we'll see you guys later. Whoop whoop.
Thank you for listening to the Faith Geek Podcast. The Faith Geek Podcast is brought to you by thefaithgeek.com, your online Christian resource for all things geek culture. Remember, you can always listen to this and any of our archive shows by visiting www.thefaithgeek.com.